And my, oh my, do we have some great things coming as of this weekend. This is our third video of the day. The first video looked at the New York Times finally admitting that the world is becoming more and more nationalist and populist. They are realizing that populations are moving away from globalism and more towards nation, culture, custom, and tradition. And now even the premier publication of the left-wing globalist media is recognizing that. I then posted a video that gives you a big picture look, an aerial look at the election and how really well the nationalist populists did. One takeaway from that video is that 4 of the 5 largest parties that were voted into the European Parliament over the weekend, they're all from the nationalist populist right. 4 out of 5, along with the center-right party, the CDU of Germany. There is no left-wing party in the top 5 parties voted in, just to give you a sense of what happened over the weekend. So you want to check out those 2 videos today. Now, in this video, I want to go over a nation-by-nation analysis of the elections to give you a sense, again, of how well the nationalist populist right did and why the bullies in Brussels are terrified. Do not let their feigned rhetoric or the media's spin fool you. The bullies in Brussels are panicked. They're panicked because they see the trajectory, the trends here. Again, the huge thing to get in all of this, okay? The huge thing is you've got to take a long-term view here. If you've got to identify the trends, the 3 to 5 to 10-year trends going on here to appreciate just how astonishing these European elections were. And that's what I want to try to give to you here. And if you understand that, you'll understand why the bullies in Brussels are panicked, why this weekend was such a nightmare. So let's start with the heavyweights of that nightmare, where the nationalist populists completely dominated. And that means we've got to begin with Italy. And I talked about Italy in the last video, but Matteo Salvini's Lega is simply put now the largest party in their entire nation officially. No one even comes close to Lega, the Italian League. Look for snap elections there in Italy in the next couple of months. There's no way Salvini is going to be playing second fiddle to anyone anymore in the populist 5-star. It looks like a combination of Lega and the Brothers of Italy, which is the other nationalist populist party. It looks like they'll have easily the 40% needed for a functioning government in Italy and creating a coalition there. Forza Italia will probably join that coalition, which should give them over 50% support. Very, very strong coalition there for Italian politics. The other massive winner last night, of course, was the Brexit Party. They tied with Germany's CDU as the largest party in the EU. The Brexit Party will represent an astonishing 28 seats in the next European Parliament. Just to give you a sense of the magnitude of that, the Tories will be sitting in 3 seats. The centrist parties, the globalist mainstream parties, completely caved in Britain, along with Italy. The globalist political order is, for all practical purposes, dead in the UK and Italy now, okay? So we'll have to see how that plays out domestically, right, with Boris Johnson most likely taking the helm of the Conservatives, with Nigel Farage in Brussels. Can you imagine what Farage's opening speech is going to be like in Brussels? Can you even fathom the smirk he's going to have on his face when he enters into that Parliament building? I mean, I'll pay money to see it. In addition to Italy and Britain, we of course have Poland and Hungary, okay? It really was an astonishing win in Poland. A number of pro-EU globalist parties formed a coalition, what they called an opposition pro-European coalition, that thought it could beat out the reigning nationalist Law and Justice Party and bring a victory to pro-EU forces. But alas, it was not to be. The nationalist right Law and Justice Party has won in Poland, and they received 43% of the vote as over against the opposition coalition. I think they got around 39%. Now, given that they faced a huge coalition of left or center-left pro-globalist parties, I mean, this election win really does solidify the Nationalist Law and Justice Party is the single most dominant party in Polish politics. It was a great performance for them ahead of their own national elections later on this year, which they should win easily. In addition, the Nationalist Right Party, known as Konfederacja, They pulled off an impressive 6% of the vote, so all combined, the nationalist right will have won 26 of Poland's 51 seats in the European Parliament. That's putting them in, I think, fourth of the top 5. As well as Hungary is concerned, no surprise there. Viktor Orban's Fidesz party just ran away with it. And they have won around, I believe, around 55%, 60% of the vote. They're going to get 14 or so of their 21 seats. Next, we just have to give it up for Marine Le Pen's National Rally. I mean, they just beat the pants off of French President Macron's En Marche party quite handily. It was their second European election, that is National Rally, in a row. How do you like them apples? Marine Le Pen is officially dominant. She's 2 for 2 when it comes to EU elections. And so now we're going to see if she can translate that into domestic dominance in French national elections. Now, just this force alone is extremely formidable. Britain, Italy, Poland, and France represent 4 of the 5 largest parties in the European Parliament. So make no mistake, this success alone would be enough to make a very strong impact in Brussels. But in many ways, these 4 nations are just the foundation. Now we're getting to the real growth of the nationalist populist movement at the wider level. And that means we've got to go to Belgium, and particularly Flanders. Flanders is the most populous region in Belgium. And the 2 nationalist right parties in Flanders, the New Flemish Alliance and the Vlaams Belang. Vlaams Belang means Flemish interest. They both came in. They came in first and second, respectively. Very, very decisive win there for the right. The Sweden Democrats did very, very well. People have been dissing them a little bit, and I'm getting a little upset. Look at the trajectory. Look at the trends. Back in 2014, the Swedish Democrats got 9% of the vote. They were still in single digits. Yesterday, they got 15% of the vote, which is in line with the 18% they got in the national election. That's what you want. 15% is closing in on doubling their performance from 5 years ago. It's by far their best European election yet. So well done, Sweden Democrats. Same with the Alternative for Germany. They got 11% of the vote, up from 7% in 2014. The conservative New Democracy took over Greece. The prime minister there, Alexis Tsipras, he announced that they're going to have snap elections. The far-left Syriza party, they just collapsed in their support. And keep in mind that New Democracy is considering a coalition with Golden Dawn. Golden Dawn got 2 seats, the Nationalist Populist Party there, in their EU elections, along with the Greek Solution, which is another Nationalist Populist Party. They picked up a seat. And just for time's sake, the Nationalist Populists gained in Estonia, Bulgaria, the Czech Republic, Croatia, Slovenia. And I want to very deliberately include Austria here, okay? I talked about this in the other video. The thing to remember with Austria is that the center-right Austrian People's Party, which did very, very well in the EU elections, even though their government has collapsed, 35% of the vote or so. We have to remember, they basically stole the Nationalist Right Freedom Party's platform in their national election. And they gained 8 percentage points from the 2014 European election, okay? They adopted a nationalist populist platform and they gained nearly 10 percentage points from the last European election. So I'm including Austria in a growing nationalist populist presence in Europe without apology there. I also want to give a huge shout out to Thierry Baudet's Forum for Democracy in the Netherlands. Now, I know we were all disappointed that they didn't do better, right? We were fully expecting, like with the regional elections there, they were going to win these elections outright, when in the end they did place fourth. So that was rough, that was tough, I admit. But again, if we take our longitudinal analysis here, what do we see? This is a party that didn't even exist a couple of years ago. And they're competing with the Christian Democrats and the Labour Party. So an 11% vote for the first EU election is extremely impressive showing. The exact same thing goes for the Vox Party in Spain. They're brand new to the political scene, right? They're only just, were they founded 2013? They weren't even a blip on the political map at the last European election, 2014, and they got 6% of the vote. We've gone from 0 to 6% nationalist populism in Spain. Now that's called a trajectory. And it's a movement towards the nationalist right, not away from it. All right, just because they got 10% in their last national elections doesn't mean they're going to get that in a European election. They're going to have to prove themselves, just like Matteo Salvini and the Lega Party have done in Italy. So I think Spain did well if we're looking at the election in light of the last 5 years. So that's a breakdown as I see it from nation to nation. Okay, this was an extraordinary election for the nationalist populist right. Make absolutely no mistake. These trajectories signal to the bullies in Brussels that their days are indeed numbered.